My Gavana Melanin, welcome to my elven realm. So I am becoming a quantum activist, and I label myself as this because it really defines what it is that I am doing more with my life and how I am transforming myself. And I wanted to teach you all about quantum activism and what it actually means. It's a new form of being a light worker, and what basically light workers have been doing is this. But it's time that we put a little bit more distinction between just being a social justice warrior and being a quantum activist. And a lot of people that are talking about being social justice warriors, they are calling those people, ones that fight others and try to, raise concerns for certain causes on the internet. But what's going on is people are moving their energy towards what they wish to see and experience more in the world. And that is a form of quantum activism. And you may not be quite aware of what it is that they are doing. I am a quantum activist. What I have been doing for a few years now has been using my awakened state to understand that I have the power to create my reality. Quantum physics teaches us that nothing that is in the material world or that what we observe is unaffected by the observer. So it means that when you are the main observer in your life, the way that you perceive something through your eyes and then process through the mind is how it will appear to you. The perception of your reality is actually more closer to reality than actual reality, if that makes sense. All we have is our perception tools. We have our 5 senses plus our 6th sense. Now our 6th sense is that perception tool that gets us in touch with the truer reality that exists. There is a fine line with all of this because sometimes people can justify their actions of evil saying that, well, that's my truth, that's my perception. And while yes, it is, there is such a thing as imbalanced perceptions and unconscious perceptions versus a balanced perception and a conscious perception. And the difference is in the consciousness and awareness place that you come from. So people who do bad and evil on this earth, they are coming from the unconscious perception, and it is quite identified with their ego. Something bad happened to them within their childhood. They were bullied a lot. They felt like they were a loner to society, so they go and they make bombs within their shelters because they're upset with society. It's the Joker archetype. It's that mentality of, and I mean the Joker within the Batman series and the movies. The mentality that I feel alone in society, I am mad at society, I have had terrible things happen to me within my life, therefore I must destroy others in order to help defend my ego. And this is what is part of their perception and their reality. But there's a reality that exists that we are all connected to, and you can get in touch with it through your intuition. And that reality that exists is one that is about life, balance, harmony, and sustainability of energy and life force. The universe is always looking to expand and to bring forth life on all planets. And all those different souls within the universe and within on those different planets and their homes, they are experiencing their life coming from the same ray of consciousness, the universal consciousness. So there is a reality that exists that is the truer reality, and it is all about life force energy. If you can get in touch with that type of perception, that is when you become a quantum activist. You are then working in flow with the universal consciousness, and you will be given great power to actually achieve everything that you truly wish and desire. And that is really the secret of the secret that has been going around in the New Age community. The problem with the secret teaching is that it doesn't teach people to get in touch with the divine inner parts of yourself that is already connected to that universal mind that already creates all the reality that we see. So it doesn't come from just the ego self. It is coming from a higher self. And that's where your perception, when you get in touch with the higher self and you start to perceive your reality from those eyes, that's when you can actually become a creator self, a god, a goddess on this earth, and you can start to create the reality that you wish to experience. That is when you are creating your own worlds and your own life to experience and to explore. And this goes on for infinity. And so this is really what you have to tap into. Now, these are abstract terms. It's hard to grasp what I'm talking about, but this is the elven magic. When the elves were from the Ainur, descended from the Valars, and especially Galadriel, who was the most powerful, she was in touch with the Valar. And the Valar were the ones closest to the mind of Eru Ilúvatar, which was that one central consciousness, that one prime source that we all come from. So when you are a human, a body and a mind and a spirit on earth that embraces that prime source consciousness, that's when you can actually start to manipulate your reality around you. And this is the elven magic. You can actually transform the material world that you see before you. And so everything that you look at becomes a reflection of your desires and what it is that you wish to see. And this is a very subtle movement. Nothing is supposed to happen rapidly. And you're not going to be able to create miracles out of thin air, because it has to be a type of perception that is going to make you believe that it is happening within this physical world. There are some limitations that we do have within the constructs of this world, but it is for a very important reason. It's so that you can keep on creating in the way that you are and going forth on your soul evolutionary path and not stopping your growth, and keep on exploring and expanding more. And that is your creator self that lives within you. So many humans, and I have been in this place before, believe that circumstances happen to them and that unfortunately they're dealt with all this pain and this suffering and there's really nothing that they can do. But that's not the truth. As soon as they get in touch with their creator self, that is when they have the power to manifest everything that they wish and that they want to experience. Now, the elites within this world that dabble in the occult have some type of inkling about this, and quantum physics, and if they are into science, then they have embraced this idea. So a lot of them believe that their wealth and everything like that is manifest through their desires to create from their creator, God self. And that's where the whole idea of Illuminati comes from, with the eye in the pyramid. That is basically their eye. And what we have, though, is a chance for all humanity to actually raise to that same level. And in doing so, it actually creates a very peaceful and a wiser species that humans are already starting to become. Those have awakened and have felt that consciousness shift within them. They are part of that evolutionary path to become wiser beings on Earth. And so this is the story that is playing out. You are a quantum activist when you choose to get in touch with that creator self and then to create the reality that you want to see. So if you see that this world is lacking conscious states of expression, of behavior, and that a lot of evil and ignorance and unnecessary violence is actually being done from these unconscious states of being, and people being really stuck within their emotions and their ego identity. What a light worker is able to do is to transform that a bit. And social justice warriors are trying to do the same thing. But it's important that their causes and their action towards defending others and fighting for others actually come from the prime source. And they can get in touch with that if they are using their intuition. And the intuition will tell you if you are doing something out of just the ego or if you are doing something actually for the whole benefit of the collective of humanity. And that's what the intuition does. It is your cord actually to the prime source, the creation within this entire universe that just wants to see life expand and move forward and grow, and each species to survive until it's time for a new species. And so when you are in touch with that, that is when you are actually given the power. You take in that power within you because you're awakened to your creator self, and you are able to start to perceive how you start to perceive the world is how you will actually start to manifest the reality. Because quantum physics shows us that the observing eye, done through the double slit theory of the molecules and the idea that different molecules they're supposed to move in a pattern that's designated by science. But when you put a camera, when you put an observing component to the molecules and you change the position of the observer, that's when the molecules actually change. So it shows that the way that you observe your world and your reality and your life will form the molecules and the matter that you are perceiving then and experiencing. So we are creating as we go, basically. And this is the idea about transformation, and even in the Elven Awakening, when people are ready to embrace a higher version of themselves and they are ready to transform themselves and to take in that type of power, they will be able to do that elven magic in which they will be connected to that Eru Iluvatar source of the entire universe and to create from that power. And that is a very, very powerful source of manifestation in this world. So we are starting to become quantum activists. I am a quantum activist, and there are many that are awakening to this. And what we might have is a competing of perceptions of where our reality should go. But I wouldn't worry about it too much, because it seems that we will have diversity and that we are not supposed to have a homogeneous type of species that's all one. So we are going to have a bit of diversity, and it's going to be very interesting to see how people are evolving and transforming themselves in this very age and time. So everything that you think, everything that you are perceiving about your life, you are actually bringing forward into your perception, and you are then getting to experience it. There are some things within this universe that we still do need to be aware of, is that everything does come from a physical source of matter and coming together to form the world that we see. So we can't yet walk through walls, and we can't yet jump off a building and fly in this type of world, because the laws of physics have been bounded to this world in order to give us the perception, the illusion of what it is that we are needing at this point in time, and in order to move forward into our own spiritual awakening and evolutionary path. In a sense, you can see it like this. If you were given all of the answers already, if you were able to do all the miracles and the magic that you wish to do, you wouldn't appreciate it, and there wouldn't be something to work towards in the future. So that's how I am seeing it. And I do understand that our gifts and our abilities are going to increase, and we're going to be able to do those things that we are not able to do at this time. But it is all about our perceptions and moving into the higher consciousness dimensions. So we are in very exciting times, and I just want to encourage people to become their own quantum activists within their life. That if you feel like you are a victim and you're subject to a certain circumstance and people around you are holding you back, or you feel like you are in this dead-end job, or you are in this type of experience that holds you down, start to change the perception. Start to see yourself as a powerful being that actually has the power to change everything that you experience day to day, and that the reality that you experience is actually rapidly forming before your very eyes. And it just matters which way that you choose to look at it. So if you choose to look at things in a more optimistic, loving way, you are going to experience the world in a very optimistic, loving way. If you choose to look at the world in an experience of a pessimistic, very dark type of brooding way, you are going to experience the world in a very dark way. So there are ways that we actually do align to our perceptions. All we are is walking perception tools in this vehicle. It's really just our mind, and it's the consciousness that's within that is actually the true reality. All of this is just molecules put together for a temporary time. So I hope that this gives you some empowerment. I wanted to do this. I know it's Saturday, but I felt like I was ready to give this message. I have seen the changes within my own life of becoming a quantum activist and using the tools and the secrets behind quantum physics to actually transform the world and the way that I perceive the world and my experience. There is no right or wrong way to experience the world. It is your own experience. People have to get into that part of realization. There is only a way that is good and healthy for you. So if you are happy to experience the world in a dark, destructive type of way, with no hope and no light within it, those are the choices that you personally are going to have to make. Is it more beneficial to you? Are you happy with that perception? Or can you shift the camera angle and start to look at life in a different way? And therefore your world will be renewed right before your eyes, because you are manifesting the reality. Everything that is coming outside of your eyes is actually a direct reflection of what is within you and what it is that you desire to see. When you are in your unconscious states, when you are pure and innocent as a child, but you are not awakened to your creator self, you are still playing with blocks and you are still moving around and exploring this world. And as you get older, you start to awaken, and people start to even awaken through their teenage years, but not when you're a child. You may be very wise, and you can come into this world as a very wise soul already. You are, as a child, in that unawakened state. You are just then a victim of others' perceptions and others' desires. And so when you get older and you become an adult, or you become even a teenager who's able to start to use reason and start to use logic, and you're starting to actually have more complex thought processes and make your own choices of how you are perceiving the world, this is where it's so important that we teach teenagers right now how to get a grasp on their reality. A lot of teenage suicides are happening at this point because they are looking at the world as if they are truly just a victim of the circumstances of the world. They have to get in touch with their creator self at a younger age. This world is kind of pushing us into that because it is becoming a little bit more chaotic. There are more people, there's going to be more perceptions to deal with. We also have influence from other types of perceptions that are not very healthy. So we are dealing with other people's perceptions, and they are rapidly creating the reality that they wish to see, and they are taking part and acting towards that reality, and other people are doing the same. So we have competing realities going on at the same time. Worlds are bumping into each other. But as soon as you gain that ability to have choices, to logically think out your ideas and your thoughts before making and taking action and reacting, that is when you can choose to alter your perception of what it is that you're seeing, and then that will form the reality. You'll get opportunities and other types of things that will come into your life, coincidences, synchronicities, that will actually move forward into that same perception that you are seeing. And that's really what 1111 really truly means to me. When I started to see that, that was a call to my creator self. It was unifying my ideas and my thoughts into one, merging my consciousness into what it was that I desired to see in the world and in my own life to my creator self, and then opening up those doors to infinite possibilities and realities that I could choose. Choosing another decision in life is really a collapsing of the quantum particles and moving that away and choosing to experience a rapid movement of particles in a new form. And that's really what choices are. So you always, always have choices. You always have different paths that you choose. And so while everybody has light and they have dark parts of themselves, I would say that you would be much happier, much more in peace if you choose the lighter part of yourself, choose to express the lighter part of yourself, choose to see love in the world. Does not mean denying the other things that are going on, but to override, to always have that love override and come over the darkness and the other things that you see. And that's really what happens to somebody who is optimistic. And when you are optimistic, your perception of reality will be in the form of luckiness, optimism, and great joy and bliss. And this is Alvin magic, in which you can transform the very reality that you see, and you are constantly always in control because you're connected through a higher source of creation. And you are the creator that manifests its reality, and you are in total control. So go on and become quantum activists, and let's build a beautiful world together. Hen and Lei for listening. I'll see you on the next video.